this public hearing. My name is Robert Crandall, and I'm a responsible, law-abiding citizen of Chester, and I do possess concealed carry weapon permits from both Florida and South Carolina. Now, the people in this room and I choose to be law-abiding citizens of the United States and South Carolina. But we also choose to have the means of protecting ourselves and our family members, whether at home or beyond the boundaries of our castle. Carrying a concealed gun is a tremendous responsibility, and I personally practice threat assessment and avoidance every day. The last thing I ever want to do is use my gun. I am not a paranoid person, just a prepared person who carries so that I have the capability of answering a possible lethal threat from the criminal element who can strike at any time and at any place. And although I've spent my money and time over the years to acquire my carry permits, I believe that permits are a form of gun control and taxation. Requiring people to pay for a permit for a right that we already possess and is protected by a constitution is a clear government infringement on our right to keep and bear arms. Gun control advocates know that the more barriers the government places in the way of law-abiding citizens, such as the cost of the permit, the fingerprinting, the state-certified training, will most likely result in people not even trying to get their permit. The result is the more barriers, less guns. And for the gun control advocates, mission accomplished. With regard to training, I strongly advocate anyone who decides to carry a gun to obtain the best instruction and training possible and practice the safe use of a gun to whatever extent possible. Training should be continuous to ensure responsible carrying of that weapon. It is imperative to read and understand all the state laws, especially when you travel from state to state. But training should be the choice of the individual. If government requires training for everything that has risk, then our freedoms evaporate. The idea that you will be safer if government requires training is status, foolish, and incorrect. Please understand that no amount or level of government-sanctioned training can ever fix stupid. Responsible people will always choose to get education and training for firearms, for flying a plane, for operating dangerous equipment, for skydiving, etc., without government mandates. Government has no legitimate authority in this country to be our nanny. Finally, everyone has the right to self-defense. A gun is a very practical tool because it is the great equalizer for the small, the single or few, the frail, and the elderly. Please support constitutional carry and let us, freedom-loving Americans, enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as our founding fathers intended for us. Thank you for listening.
Ralph Baker.
Thank you for spending your time to come here. We've come up from Sumter to meet you. I can't be as eloquent as those two gentlemen, but I am concerned that we ignore or use emotional responses to open carry, constitutional carry. The facts are that citizens use firearms for personal protection in this country 1.5 million times every year. Any restrictions we put on that diminishes their ability to do that. I don't want to see an emotional response to this. We have other states, Arizona, Montana, that have open carry, and have not had any issues with it. Are we that different from them? I think not. Another aspect is that the anti-gun side often characterizes all people that have a gun as criminals. I would ask you to make the division that's not often made. The people that are here tonight are good citizens. The laws that are passed affect them because they're good citizens and they're law-abiding. Any law that you pass does not affect the criminal. When you restrict firearms from the good citizens, you create a soft target fire field for those criminals.
That's right.
Please make that. We are not the problem. Everybody is safer. John Lott's research primarily deals with concealed carry, but every place where citizens can more readily have a gun with them, crime goes down and stays down. I think that I'm going to end that here. I pretty much covered what I want. Thank you again for the opportunity to put some facts out on the table and not to speak in terms of I feel or I think. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Lane.
Gentlemen, again, thank you for coming tonight and listening to us. I don't have anything prepared, no big speech, no teleprompter. What I would like to do is I would like to back up what's been said. I've got a wife, 3 daughters, a brother-in-law, a son, and a soon-to-be son-in-law. All of us are avid shooters, but none of them, other than myself, have a concealed carry permit. And when I went to get mine, they were like, why do you want the government to know what you got that you're carrying concealed? They look at it as putting the bullseye on it for the government to come and intrude and take away what it looks like the gun grabbers are trying to do now. And come into our homes and take away and take away and take away. Now, I spent time in the military, and I do have training, like he said, to have training to do threat assessment. I have trained my children, I have trained my wife, and I'm working on training my sons, my stepsons, my brother-in-laws in threat assessment, what I was taught. The government has overreached and overstepped its boundaries time and time again. And every time they take away something, it takes away not from the criminal element, it takes away from the law-abiding element. Those who are wanting to protect and to serve. Not only are our officers here sworn an oath to protect and serve the community, but each one of us as law-abiding citizens and gun owners taken an oath to ourselves to protect and serve ourselves, protect and serve our neighbors, to protect and serve those around us when we're carrying. Anything that would take away from the government's overreach and reestablish our constitutional rights, which I and you have sworn to uphold. Anything that will help us and allow us to be responsible citizens, to help protect this state and visitors to this state, just really pass this amendment, pass this law, so that we can help you and we can help this state. Thank you, and thanks for being here tonight and giving us a chance to speak.
Jeff Maddox.
Hello, gentlemen.
nobody here, they all talk about our rights and all, but they haven't said where they come from. They come from God. And they're inherent to us. My right to self-defense, their right to self-defense, love thy neighbor, do non-aggression to anybody. If somebody aggresses against me, I'm hoping that a neighbor will be there to help me. If you strip their rights away, what do they have to help me with? A broom handle? Criminals don't care about it. Politicians don't care about it. You don't trust us. Why don't you trust us? Ultimately, that trust, the reason you don't trust us is because we may overthrow you. Since the Constitution was born, that Second Amendment has been sacred. Up until about 100 years ago, when the progressive movement came in, and we saw first prohibition, and because of that, the rise of the mafia. Well, what did they get? The biggest, baddest guns that they could possibly get. What did the government get? The biggest, baddest guns they could possibly get. And then what did they do at the end of prohibition? The government said, we can't have any of it. Only government can have these kind of weapons. That was the death of the Second Amendment. As soon as the politicians said that there's going to be a distinction between military weapons and civilian weapons, we were meant to have more the arms, the same arms as the military, in order so that the militia could be gathered in case of a tyrannical government. That's it.
That's right. Amen.
Gentlemen, you cannot take that right. You can pass all the laws in the world that you want. You still cannot take that right. I don't carry a CWP because I don't refuse to register. It's none of your damn business. Leave us alone. We want to be free. We don't need your help. We can figure it out for ourselves. Thank you.
Mike Kenny.
First of all, I want to thank you for opening with prayer. It's good that we can still do that. Amen. Amen. First of all, I'd say I'm on business for 17 years. I do carry a gun every day. My wife carries a gun at work. That's something that we feel like we have to protect ourselves. We have 15 employees, and I've participated for the last 13 years in the work release program. We work a lot of inmates. We try to teach them the skills, try to train them, so when they're out, they can get a job. And I've asked a lot of them before, it's been in there for years, there's a lot of them that we've worked, sometimes they've been through the system 2 or 3 times. And I've asked them before, you know, it's a thing with when they get out, they try to do right, then they get right back in the same situation. But getting back to the permit or the carrying weapon, I've asked them before, what would you do if you walked in a convenience store and the guy behind the counter had a gun, or a customer would stand there with a pistol? What would you do if you went to rob them? Well, we'd go somewhere else. We would go somewhere that it was easier target. They're going to go somewhere that they know that there's not somebody that's got a weapon that can shoot or fire back at them. They're always looking, like I said, I've worked hundreds of them over the years. They're always looking for the easiest target. Somewhere that they can break in a house that they know is an elderly person that's less likely to have a gun. And like I said, they've asked me before, why do you carry that gun at work? I said, to protect me, because me and my wife work together, protect her and protect y'all. If somebody comes in, I'm gonna think before I pull my gun. I'm not that stupid. I know what goes on, what's gonna happen, all the ramifications if I do pull that weapon. I have enough sense to think about that. I'm not like a lot of them, the media will tell you that people are just going, there's going to be gunfights in the street. There's not. People are going to think. That 99% of people in this country is going to think before they pull a weapon. They're going to think about it and determine what happens if they do pull a weapon. And I would appreciate if y'all would think about that and allow us to carry a weapon. I think that would be the biggest deterrent in crime if everybody was able to carry a weapon, because the criminal out there is not going to try, they're going to try to find the easiest target there is.